Stuka Joe here for an impromptu, this is, let's call it a live preview video. And we have Dan Pancaldi, No Enemies Here. How you doing, man? And we're going to do a preview video on Brotherhood and Unity. And it's going to be live, so I'm going to be showing you some images about the game. We're going to talk about certain aspects of the components, and then I'll show you the game set on the table. And this is a preview video for an upcoming non-live video, which is going to be the tutorial that they made for the game. I'm going to make a video on it. And we have Purple Norseman. How you doing? And this is a card-driven game, three-player game about the war in Bosnia-Herzegovina. And what I put together was like a slide presentation of images that I took from the table. So let me show you that, and we'll switch to that right away. And here we have the front of the box. This is the game, Brotherhood and Unity. And it's published by Compass Games. The designer is Stanislavsky Cipcic, and I hope I pronounced that correctly. So let me just, before we start here. Okay, so I had an opportunity to set the game up on the table, and so it's a standard map. You're going to see all the components. I'm going to go through it right away. The map board is 33 by 22 inches. This is a sample of the map board. It's a point-to-point map. It's divided into regions. You see, for example, they're color-coded. Let me show you here. Here you see this particular space here is a key city. That's denoted by the print that is in caps, and it is controlled at the beginning of the game by the Bosniaks, denoted by the green and this shield here. Here you see another key city, but this one is controlled by the Croats. And you see there's a river in between, and there's a symbol here of that the river protects each one of these cities from attack. So you would suffer a penalty if you attack through the river here. So here we have another part of the map. The map designer is the same designer, Stanislavsky Cipcic. I like the map. It's very functional. It looks very nice. You're going to see in this game, Bosnia-Herzegovina is where the action happens, but you're going to see these spaces outside, like here, Imotski is a space in Croatia. Supply, you have to trace supply to an to space that is outside Bosnia-Herzegovina. And the Croatians trace supply from Croatian spaces, but also the Bosniaks. So that's kind of interesting there. We have here a region here, Srednja Bosna. And there's some information here. This region is worth 7 strategic will points. That's like victory points in this game. The region also will have two key cities denoted by the two asterisks. And you can see, I think this is one, Senisha, and Bugoyno, that's the other one. And 4 is the number of spaces, including the key cities that you have to control in order to gain control of the region. So here we have a view from the map, further view from the map. You're going to see here, we're going to focus on Sarajevo, which is the largest city on the map. Sarajevo appears like a rectangle here, but there's an insert map that we're going to see. Here you see the insert map for Sarajevo. They got 14 regions. We have Alvaro Rodriguez Bravo also. How you doing? We have 14 different spaces for Sarajevo. And we're going to take a closer look here. Here we see that, let me go back just a second. Here we see that Sarajevo, to control it, you need to control 8 of the 14, including all 4 key areas, the ones in capital letters. And it's worth 14 strategic will points. So it's the most award-heavy region here in the game. And you're going to see that there's going to be 4 key cities and 4 key cities, and 2 are going to be in control of the Bosniaks, 3 actually, and 1 are in control of the Serbians here. And here we see the 3 cities in control of the Bosnians: Novi Grad, Novo Sarajevo, and Centar. And the Serbians control the other one. But if you look at the map from afar, the Bosniaks in Sarajevo are surrounded by Serbians. So here we have another region, Podrinje. And here we have the explanation of what the information means. You got the name, you got the number of key spaces, 1, control value. To control the region, you have to control 3, and it is a key region for the Bosniaks and the Serbians. It is not a key region for the Croats. So I don't think the Croats score any points. And at the beginning of the game, you place a control marker there for the Bosniaks. That's a setup indicator. There's also, it's only 4 turns long, but I guess a lot happens in each of the turns. And what's interesting is the order of play changes. You can see here in the first turn, the Serbs go first, then the Bosniaks. Oh no, then the Croats, then the Bosniaks. And you have the number of cards that each player has in the first turn in his hand, 7, 5, 5. And the number of reinforcements. So you got 10 for the Serbs, 5 for the Croats, 2 for the Bosniaks. But in the third turn, that all switches around. And the Bosniaks go first, Croats second, and Serbs go third. And the Serbs don't have any more reinforcements after the first turn. So I guess that places the pressure on the Serbs to attack here. So that's an interesting aspect of this game, how it switches around. You're going to have offensive possibilities on both sides. So here we have a closer look at the turn track. And here we have the terrain keys. Something that I really like about this map is you have the space, right? And when you put a unit, place a unit on the space, obviously it's going to cover all this information, but it has this little tab here that tells you what the terrain in the space is, and that's pretty cool because you don't have to be lifting up units, and so that's a cool aspect here. Have map key here. Here we have the strategic will track. This is where you keep track of strategic will points, which again are like the victory points in the game. And each side to win has to have a number of strategic will points at the end of the game. But that's basically what you're aiming for. And then this is the foreign attitude track. Each of the sides can bring foreign units. Like the Croats in Bosnia-Herzegovina can bring the Croats that are in Croatia. But the more that you use these foreign units, the more that your marker here is going to advance in this track, and you don't want that. Let me show you here, for example. Here, if you start in 0, the more that you use units, you move into these areas here. Level 1, you're going to suffer sanctions like movement factor reduced by 1. You can't strategically redeploy. You can't advance after attack. Then if you move into level 2, you're going to receive airstrikes from NATO. Your units, two of your full strength units are going to receive airstrikes. And if your marker ever falls in the -7, you automatically lose the game. The game is over, and then you determine the winner from the other 2 players. So you can't abuse your allies outside of Bosnia-Herzegovina in this game. Here we have the counters. They are 5/8 of an inch. We have here these are the Serbian counters, rounded corners, very thick, very nice. And here we have, these are allies of the Serbs. I don't remember right now what these letters stand for, but these enter through event cards. They don't begin the game, just enter through event cards. So here we have this box here on the map where you place the forces, the Serbian foreign units, here in reserve when they enter. Then you place them on the map. When they're eliminated, you place them here, and here you place your Serbian irregular, what they call domestic, the yellow Serbian units go in this area here. And here we have the Croat regular units. They have 1 less combat factor, and the numbers here are combat factor. This is loss, amount of loss points the unit can absorb before you flip it to the other side, and movement factor. So here you see these regular Croat units, and here's an elite Croat unit that enters through a specific card. Here we see the counters, and here we see the allies of the Croats. These enters through specific events, and these are the ones that are going to lower your foreign attitude levels. Here you see the space where they're placed on the map. Here we see the Bosniaks. Same thing happens here. These are the regulars. These are the elite Bosniaks. These are allies of the Bosniaks, I think Mujahideen. So these are control counters, out of supply. These are different markers. There's a tunnel from the airport in Sarajevo, which you can funnel units out. Hello, Hugo from Brazil. And here we have the cards. Each side has its own deck of cards. Here you have the explanation, the card value. You got the period in this game. Turns 1 and 2 are early war, 3 and 4 late war. Name of the card. This is a card that you use in combat. And the event effect. We're going to see the different kinds of cards: combat, offensive, interrupt, and foreign unit cards. I'm going to show you samples. Here you see this is a typical event card. And here we have a combat card. And that you only use that in combat. Can only be played in combat. This is an offensive card. Here we have an interrupt card. So you play this card when the other player is conducting his turn. And then you have this foreign volunteers card. This is how these special units enter the game, through these cards. And you have 3 dice in each of the faction's colors. The player aids are really nice because the situation on the map is pretty hectic, and I think the player aid allows to explain it here. Here you see the situation in Sarajevo as well as the main map. And you see these areas where you have control by the Serbs. These are controlled by the Bosniaks, these by the Croatians, and these are areas that have the presence of two sides here. And now these stripes, what it really means is that these are key areas for the sides that have the colors here. So these areas only are key areas for the Serbs. For the Bosniaks, you have this area here, and these two areas, and Podrinje over here. So everybody has different goals. Here we have the Sarajevo insert map, turn information, got the unit breakdown and information there. You have the back of the play rate has a sequence of play, action rounds, what you do in an action round. You have also the actions you can conduct, operations, victory conditions, capturing a space or a region, UN safe areas, and terrain effects. And this is the rule book. The rule book, I think it's about 20 pages. It's very well illustrated. It's got a lot of examples. And what I will be doing in the next video is going through this. This is a tutorial that the designer made, so I'm going to go through it. It's a playthrough like of a full turn. And so let me just take you to the map to show you a little bit about the game there. Okay, so here we have the game set up. You can see the units here. Kasinska Krajina is called an enclave because the units start not being able, these green units cannot trace supply because they don't trace supply to these spaces. The Serbs trace supply to these Krajina spaces. The Bosniaks trace supply to Croatian spaces, and the nearest one is down here. So those units are going to have trouble getting in supply. They get limited supply from the city that has Bihać, which is a key city, can supply 3 units. So up to 3 units can be supplied in this enclave. And you see the other regions here. Zapadna Krajina, which has a couple of Serb units. So at the beginning of the game, they're pretty sparsed out, but the Serbs are out in force. There's 26 Serbian units on the map. I think there's 7 Croatian units, and I believe it's 10 Bosniak units. So the Serbs have been fully mobilized at the beginning of the game. See, here's the area around Sarajevo. Now let's take a look at the Sarajevo insert map so you can see how it looks. And there it is. And you have these 3 spaces here, 3 key areas, urban spaces in control of the Bosniaks with 2 units each. And then everything else is basically controlled around the city by the Serbs. So interesting situation at the beginning of the game. And I'm looking forward to making this video because I think it's an interesting game. It's Diladin, how you doing? It's something that you don't see very often. It has a lot of elements that I like. First, it's a conflict about a conflict that doesn't get a lot of attention. Fairly recent. It's in the 90s. 3-player game, actually. This you can play with 2 players, but it is really meant as a 3-player game. And a card-driven game. That's, of course, I love card-driven games. So That's Brotherhood and Unity. And the next video will be, will not be a live video. Will just be a regular preview video, actually gameplay video of the tutorial. So, that's it for now, folks. And thanks for showing up. This impromptu presentation. We're running into 21 minutes. And I hope you enjoy the next video about this game. This is Brotherhood and Unity. So, as I always say, this is Stuka Joe, signing off for now. Thanks for watching.